to my guests, Richard C. Hoagland and Vance Davis. And Vance, all of the audience is now updated, and I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna ask one more time, and maybe it's just a question you can't answer, or maybe it's a question you don't know the answer to. But you have said, in answer to this mystery, that the military dropped charges against all of you guys like a hot rock, and you've given me some sort of broad explanation of why you think they did that, having to do with one world government or something or another. And there had to have been something concrete and absolute in terms of intel that you had that you could have talked about, or one of the other in your party could have talked about, that would have caused them so much embarrassment that rather than face that in a court-martial against you, they dropped the whole thing strangely. And I want to know what that was.
Well, let me give you, and it may be confirmation for you, Art, and maybe for Richard, because there are a couple points that I feel, and so do the other five, that we did have, that we, over the past 8 years, have fought with about whether we should even talk about. And
Okay.
with the events occurring recently and in the past year, I think it's time, and I took it upon myself, that it's time to come out and broach the subject.
Okay, broach it.
Whether it's accurate to the government's view or not, I can't answer that. But I'm saying this is what we feel that would be very hard for them to answer to the public, because it was all over the news and it would have been done publicly. And that is that the public does not know. And in 1984, I found out very directly, as many people do that end up in the intelligence community, that there are two governments in the United States. I'm a naive 18-year-old at the time, and I had this thrown on me, and that things that I was taught about history were not necessarily true, and I proceeded to be taught what real history was. That there is a, quote, elected government by the people.
Mm-hmm.
We all agree with that, correct?
Yes.
But they hold no real hard power. That the non-elected organizations, individuals, and groups of people working for this large group or corporation, whatever you want to call it, actually pulls the strings and tells the majority of our elected officials what they need to do.
Let me stop you there for a second. Remember last night, Ed Dames said when Clinton came into office, we did not brief the president.
Yeah.
Because he was a transient event.
Yep.
Can you imagine if this group had gone to trial and what they were involved with and what they had received in the way of interesting information
Became public.
Mm-hmm. And the process whereby they were selected, like that television show, and a lot of other things in the 1980s time frame.
Yeah.
People obviously would have had a major visceral reaction. It's like that gentleman who called in last night after Ed was on, and he said, I'm frankly really upset at what you've just said.
Yes.
He was pissed.
Yes.
Well, you know, those of us who are trying to lift the covers, you know, so the truth can be revealed, often are accused and tarred with a broad brush that we're conspiracy freaks.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm a truth freak. I made a commitment to myself 15 years ago when I started down the trail of what I thought was something simple, like extraterrestrial ruins, that I would follow that trail wherever it led. And one of the things it led to were people like Vance Davis, who are honest, God-fearing Americans, patriotic, who have been taken by this government, parts of it, used, thrown aside, reviled, and who have some special abilities that are going to be needed as the time approaches, where major events are drawing to a nexus, to a point. And last night when I came on, I did not expect the fascinating reaction of Major Dames, who in essence admitted everything we're discussing tonight.
Now, let me add something to that really even more disturbed us. And you and I, Art, touched it a few years ago, and Richard and I have talked about it. When a person joins the military, they take an oath. And Art, I believe you took that oath. Is that
yes,
correct?
Of course I did, yes. We
Yes.
all did. We stood up there and put our
the
hands
oath
up.
states that we will protect and defend
Yes,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that's right.
the Constitution of the United States.
That's correct, yes.
There is a internal war going on within the military and the intelligence community because certain individuals, I do not use the word government because the government's made up of people, that feel they gain more power by joining other forces that are against that form of government to usurp and to create problems within the boundaries of the United States.
Yeah, once again, you're talking about a coup d'etat.
Yes, I
A
am.
creeping coup d'etat.
A creeping coup d'etat. It cannot happen fast. And we're talking intelligence thinking way here now, Art.
All right, look, I'll go this far, and I went this far last night. To me, it is logical that the military-industrial complex, at the time of President Clinton's presidency, as it began, didn't trust Clinton, didn't like Clinton. We all know he doesn't much like them.
Correct.
And so that he would not be told everything. Frankly, even though it's obviously not constitutional, didn't surprise me a bit and doesn't surprise me now. And I'll go that far.
It doesn't. It's a policy within, and right now, as the audience may not know or know, the CIA now is supposed to debrief or brief the president from all intelligence sources on what's going on around the world.
Absolutely. Yes.
That does not occur, Art. They are giving him pieces, and I can understand why. They had a problem with Reagan also, because Reagan in his speeches would bring things out that he was told.
No, that's absolutely correct.
He kept pointing to the sky and talking about if we were
I
threatened.
know. I have exactly the same problem. When somebody tells me something, I can't keep my mouth shut about it, so it ends up here on the show. Drives people nuts.
Yeah, and it's a policy that has gone on since Johnson. Do not inform the president of what's really going on within the internal government processes.
All right.